Welcome to the Backyard Professor Responds videos. I have found something that just blows my mind. I have a video clip of Elder David Bednar that I am 100% in agreement with. Let's take a look at what Elder Bednar says in this very interesting clip and find out what is going on.
Revelation is communication from God to his children here upon the earth. Sometimes those messages come quickly and rather dramatically. I've compared that to a light being turned on in a dark room, where very suddenly the darkness is expelled and you can see everything in the room quite clearly and brilliantly.
That actually is a really good analogy. I can't find anything wrong with that. Sometimes you just blam, see the light, so to speak. Something occurs to you and it ends up being the solution. I like that. Let's see what else Elder Bednar has to say that is really intriguing.
A second pattern is when the light comes gradually, much like the rising of the sun. You can discern the increase of light on the horizon, but never all at once.
So that makes sense. This reminds me of a Joseph Campbell analogy where he describes love in two different manners, which is really intriguing because one, it can be like a light bulb spreading out in all directions, or it can be like a flashlight pinpointing at one specific person or thing that you love. And so this is a very interesting analogy with light and revelation and the way different manners revelation comes forward. Now let's see what else Elder Bednar says that I found quite interesting.
As we follow the teachings of Jesus Christ, he is the light. One of his names is the light. As we follow his example and live according to his teachings, there is illumination for all the aspects.
Now, what I want to say is that was pretty close to the end of his entire clip and presentation. Not once did he bring in anything about doing so through an organization. Not once did he bring up any LDS ideas at all through either a church or through a prophet or through an apostle to have the proper revelation. He simply stated it like it is. And congratulations, Elder David Bednar. Now, I would like to share with you some of my Greek studies that I have been working on for a little while. And this just happened to be one of the subjects that I've been taking some lessons on. And so that is why this video caught my attention. So interestingly enough, the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 9. Hen tophos to alethinon. Ho photitse panta anthropon erkomenon eston cosmo. The true light, which enlightens everyone, was coming into the world. That was John's message. And then over in John 8, verse 12, ego eimi tophos tu cosmo. I am the light of the world. Now, his ego eimi is kind of I guess a colloquial way we could say this is, look, it's me. Hey, here I am. Woohoo! And by the way, I'm the light of the world. Me. So that's interesting. Go to John 9 and verse 7. phos eimi tou kosmou. I mean, these are simple Greek statements, right? But they're very profound. I am the light of the world. That's what he says in John 9:6 or 5. Then we go way over to the first letter of John, 1 John, chapter 1, verse 5, and we read, Ho theos phos estin. Again, a very simple statement. God is light. Now, you notice in all of the descriptions in the New Testament from not only the gospel authors, but later letters of another gentleman named John. We're not too sure if the author of 1 and 2 and 3 John, the letters in the end of the New Testament, is the same author as the Gospel of John. You know, that's up for grabs. Now the current consensus scholarship is that John itself, the gospel, is authored by more than one author, which is really interesting. So, I mean, he had his community, he was off in East Asia. He didn't even author his gospel anywhere near Jerusalem, and it was 90 to 100 AD or thereabouts. And so this is long after Jesus had gone. An entire generation had faded. And so John's message of Jesus, and we are supposing he could have had Matthew, Mark, and Luke, the three synoptics, or at least portions of them. He might have had Q, we don't know. But John's gospel is entirely unlike these synoptics. In John's gospel, Christ is in charge. I mean, anarche en hologos, in the beginning was the word, and he equated that with Jesus. So that he expanded into the infinite expanse. His context was vastly larger than anything the synoptics dealt with when they proceeded to present. A couple of them presented the earthly birth of Jesus. And, you get the childhood stories of the Herod killing the children. Jesus was threatened, so they dodged down into Egypt. And another one of the stories is in his immature youth at age 12 in the temple, just blowing the church leaders' minds away with his vast knowledge, etc. You don't have any of that. John's context takes you out into the infinities. Even before the world was, this Logos created everything first, and then he came down to the world, and they bore witness that this was the light. And we know the Stoics had this idea of the Logos being the rational element, the rationality of the universe. So it was astonishing that thing became incarnated in humanity. See, this John's gospel is just so much more interesting than the synoptics. But I find the New Testament verifies very well what Bednar just said. And he didn't have to bring in churchy, faith-promoting pap and pablum. He just simply explained a couple of different types of processes whereby men are enlightened, and the Bible is entirely in agreement with his approach there. So thank you, Elder Bednar. I think the second coming must be close, because I have never found anything you've said that I can 100% agree with you until just now. That was a wonderful 3-minute video. So thank you for watching my Backyard Professor Responds videos. I will be back with more of these as I have time. I appreciate all your support and love and patronage. I will see you next time.